Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once more to another season here of Faceit League. We are in Season 7 now. It's been one heck of a journey these first two, and we are ready for this third one to get underway. And Dexatron, we got a game here between Hivemind and Dreamland in the NA Masters. Sure, Dreamland has been one of the odds-on favorites the last 2 seasons running, and Hivemind, who've been very much middle of the pack, are still a very consistent team. Honestly, maybe one of the most scrappy teams we have seen in a very long time now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially when you look at these two, especially when you look at a team like Dreamland. Like you said, one of the teams that has been really, really good these past 2 seasons. Well, you go back to Season 5, they played in those promotion relegation games last season. Didn't have that opportunity there, as really no team did, but still competed very, very well. Made a little bit of a deep playoff run before their exit. And like you said with Hivemind, has kind of been a team that has been middle of the pack. 7-8 back in Season 5, 8-7 back in Season 6. So they are trying to keep that record above 500 here. And if they are able to put everything together, Hunter, they could be one of those teams that not only makes the playoffs, but could make a little bit of noise here, but only their first game of week 1. A lot is left to be said here this season.
Oh, a ton is to be said. Obviously, we don't know how certain teams are going to do because, remember, there have been a lot of changes as of recent that have kind of changed the style of a lot of teams. We've seen it be witnessed, hell, just today, watching OWCS. Like, genuinely, we could see the bit of the difference that it has made, and I think it's going to be no different talking about these 2 teams here today and what they are going to be able to do. But, of course, us having this brand new season, everything does kind of take that reset, but it is a little bit difficult not to talk about what these teams have been able to do in terms of consistency. I say Dreamland, it has been one of the top dogs for the last couple seasons. That it is not an exaggeration. They are usually always in that top 3, fighting hard, fighting strong, having really good finishes as well. They typically only end up losing what feels like those 1 or 2 trap games in there is what it feels like. Before, they took a pretty bad loss to Boop Troop, which Boop Troop, shout out to Boop Troop. They had an amazing Cinderella run, and we'll see if they could duplicate that here as we're getting ready to get this first map set.
Yeah, gonna be heading to Nepal for our first map here. Hivemind banning out the Freya. Dreamland deciding to ban out the Ramatra here, so still leaves a lot on the table for both teams. Freya, I believe me and you, Hunter, kind of been seeing the hero be played a little bit less and less here. Other hit scans, Cassidy and Soj have been more to the go-to, and tanks, Ramatra being banned out here, especially on a map like Nepal, still does allow you to play a lot of other stuff, still allows you to play other brawl tanks as well. Even though this is a really good map for Ramatra, you do see divas, you do see Orissas, you do see right now the go-to probably meta tank, which you see both these teams running at the moment, Zarya, which is something that me and you started to see towards the end of last season, and during the break between seasons, Zarya basically became the meta tank here. And while everyone will say there's a lot of other tanks out there and you can see a lot of different stuff, hey, it's great to see that, but you are starting to see a lot of these death ball-y kind of comps come out, and Zarya being the main factor of it, just because once Zarya gets charged up, very, very hard to shut down here. But you also see coming out of the gate here, no big shocks other than... Okay, Talisman, that was interesting.
Yeah, Talisman is doing tech right now, obviously, but first fight is getting ready, and it's going fast. Double Zarya. See what the case is going to be. Both generating a lot of charge very quickly right now. It's going to come down to that first pick, and Kiwi going to get rid of Dreepy on the pursuit. Works out beautifully, but still Amity has a ton of, well, I still was going to say has a ton of heals. Unfortunately, that is gone. This first fight is done just as quickly. Dreamland off to a fantastic start.
And this is what you want with Dreamland, especially everyone on this team being very, very good. They've all been playing with each other now for the last couple of seasons, so they have that rapport built up here. And if you let Kiwi get going fast, it's going to be hard for any team to really shut them down, because we've seen Lucio's kind of single-handedly take over games in the past, and especially in this death ball-y style, the bubbles really allow Kiwi to go in there and play aggressively.
100% they do, but now they put themselves in, I would say a bit of a strained area. They're going to back out of there very quickly, try to take this fight back down main instead. They obviously want to try to transition onto point, make this as easy of an encounter as possible. It's going to cause, eventually, try to jump down over onto this point, but Amity trying to get back in heals. Again, Dreepy gonna be the first one to go down. You see that pursuit in the back line. Amity trying to bounce up and stay alive. Unfortunately, not gonna happen. It's gonna be another cleanup here for Dreamland, starting just as they should. How do they die in there at the very end? Supports getting a little bit of staggers at the end, and I mean, this is exactly what you're hoping for.
Yeah, and right now, you look at the difference between these two comps. It's basically Talisman running that Tracer while Sparrow is running the Echo. Echo's starting to get a little bit more playtime here, especially recently. And you even look at OWCS today, World Finals. Echo's getting a decent amount of playtime, but you basically need to be playing the Echo perfectly because Talisman's able to get on those off angles and provide just enough damage for Tread to really roll through anyone.
Exactly, and Talisman just gonna get out of there. So all the big hits comes through. Obviously, would have had that pulse bomb, could have had a delicious one, but instead, they're just gonna wait out Graveyard and Nakatsune Rush, and Mohiki is gonna send it just as quickly right around that corner. Tread gonna be pushed back further and further, eventually gonna conform back over to the cart. Grab is coming up for both of them, but Talisman is actually the first one to go down. So now the question is how much you have to invest any further, and Melanie decides, hey, we think we can win this fight. We think this is doable right here. Is looking to get rid of at least one. Helps get rid of Mohiki right now. It's been forced out of the fight, but Quick Back comes through. As Talisman trying to make the way back of the fight, Kiwi still has a beat here. Is going to go. Unfortunately, Tread is on the other side of the wall. So Overtime's going to take through it. And Dex, with this grab right here, looks like it's not going to be enough. As chaotic as it was, Dreamland takes the 100-0.
Yeah, and this is what you kind of wanted to see from Dreamland. Again, one of the teams that we expect to be towards the top of the standings throughout the entirety of the season. You want to get off to that fast start, but kind of like I mentioned, the main difference between the tanks was the fact that you had Talisman on that Tracer and Sparrow on the Echo. You didn't really see much of Sparrow up until that last fight, but it wasn't enough. Talisman is able to do what they need to do on that Tracer, take those off angles, provide charge to Tread, and kind of just be able to roll through. We're getting a little bit of a pause here now, but still, just the slight difference in compositions really went a long way there. And again, I talked about there, especially with Kiwi getting the first kill, really opened up a lot of stuff there for Dreamland to really play how they want to play, getting that slight advantage. You saw Hivemind just kind of back out after that, as they should. It was a smart move by them, but it gave that space to Dreamland that they needed, and after that, you never really saw them give it up. Right now, if you're Hivemind coming into this point here, you're gonna want to figure something out here, how to really open it up a little bit. You need to find an early pick. You need to find something that gives you that advantage to take the space, because you do know that Dreamland will back up. They will give you that space, especially if you take out a high value target like probably Talisman or even Kiwi.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a situation where at the moment, they're pretty much going with almost a direct mirror at this stage. I'm wondering how consistently that's going to keep up, because I reiterate, because this is still a majority of the roster we saw before from last season for both squads here. In the way that Hivemind is able to be scrappy, is able to turn around a lot of these fights by going into that mentality, is kind of have been their identity for the past season that we've been able to watch them. And I hope we see that a little bit here, and I think we almost 100% will if we go out and the results stay pretty much the exact same right here. And I know it's difficult. Manually, Talisman have been super consistent over the last couple seasons. Tread being over on this squad, coming in on that Zarya, is doing fantastic right out the gate. But you can't discount the Hivemind team, everything they've been able to do, everything that we have seen. It tells us that we will be able to see something fantastic from them. But either way, it feels like they got to call an admin in really quick, as it won't let them unpause.
Yeah, so sounds like there's a keyboard issue, as probably you're seeing it on stream. And it won't let them unpause. Hey, week 1, game 1 of Faceit. Probably going to have these bugs come in here. We already saw Talisman. Let's just say hover the Vendetta there for a moment. I imagine that's not allowed.
No, sir.
But, I mean, right now, again, this is what we kind of expect to see from Dreamland. They're running a really strong comp. And yeah, you talked about the mirror, but still, that slight difference was the difference maker there. And you really saw Sparrow kind of struggle with a lot of stuff. I'm even looking at the damage that they had. Able to get, a decent amount of damage, 2,000, really good for them. But you look over at the other side, Talisman, didn't even break 1,000 damage that round, but I felt like they played a really, really good round. They were doing exactly what they needed to do. Play those off angles, allow Tread to bubble them when they wanted to go in. It allowed that death ball-y kind of play style to come out, what you want to see from this composition. And it was just Hivemind never really able to capitalize on it here.
Yeah, they never really were. It feels like as fast as that went by, it feels like we only really got like 2 or 3 fights max out of that whole situation right there. At least like complete fights. There were situations where, okay, you use that Katsune Rush and you see Hivemind immediately say, hey, we're not playing with that. We're backing out. We're getting out of the situation. Which, to be fair, I kind of agree with, because the situation either is you have to completely decommit, or you essentially have to throw yourself right back at it, use your own Kitsune Rush, and pretty much go into a 50-50 fight and realize, hey, do we need to invest more? Do we need to double down? We see this from every time we see a double Kitsune fight, that's what happens. And when you have someone like Tread and Amidity who are over, or Amity, I should say, that are on the Zarya, that Zarya can get so much damage done in a short period of time. So if you are caught without those bubbles, that fight could end just like that.
Absolutely, and I'm trying to think, what does Hivemind need to do here if they want to make a swap to this composition? I don't know if you want to go to a different tank here, because I feel like both teams really want to play the Zarya. The Ramatra being banned out by, I don't know why. The Zarya or the Ramatra being banned out here by Dreamland really does show you that they probably believe that Hivemind would like to prefer to play the Ramatra if the Zarya did fail here, but still you have other options. And we've seen a little bit in South America where a lot of these teams don't necessarily care about the bubbles. They want to just try to pop them as fast as they can. And it's just something that, while we're starting to see a little bit more in professional play and here in NA as well, it seems like you're still seeing those teams that really want to just play Zarya like how they was back in the day, where you don't want to shoot those bubbles. And hey, a very good play style, a very good idea, but sometimes you give a little, pop those bubbles, go after the Zarya, get rid of them as fast as you can, and it could work out for you here. And that's something that we might need to see Hivemind do here. But at the moment, it seems like admins are still kind of struggling to be able to unpause this game.
Yeah, which obviously we don't have to tell you this, but there is a lot of people at Stockholm this weekend, and that does include a fair amount of the Faceit League staff, or just Faceit staff in general, I should say. So I'm not sure what the scenario is going to be on this and how long it might take. I will say, I can't imagine that Faceit would literally not keep a certain amount of people around to take care of things. But it seems like it's going to be a hot second until we see this. So I'm going to do the honorable thing before Dex yells at me. And we're going to just quickly we'll do like a 3... never mind, we're not doing anything.
Hey, game's back. All we had to do was talk about it.
Yeah, we had to say, oh, we're taking a break. No, we're not. We're going back into it. See, this is why we don't take breaks, Dex. This is why we balls to the walls. We go at it. We make it happen.
Yeah, and I mean, still, you're not really seeing any big swaps coming out from either team at the moment here. Graveyard hovering over the Juno, which is a little bit of an interesting pick here, up only for the speed ring out. I like it there from them, but yeah, no swaps out here for either side. Sparrow has to show us a little bit more value, I think, on this Echo, because it's just really struggled to find anything, especially with manually being the only hit skin on the other side. Yeah, Graveyard could look for the sky, but you really do not want them focusing on the flying moth in the sky.
Exactly, but Amenity and Tread already getting a ton of that damage built up right now. You're kind of waiting for the right moment to get in, because you can only do so much as that Zarya, and that bubble being shot. Tread in a rough area is run out of bubbles right now. They're going to try to run down. This is the opportunity you need right here. Manually, eventually got to try to slide out. Is it going to be able to stay alive? Big fall coming through. Tread somehow goes down to their own devices, but they are being taken down anyway. And with Amity being kept up, we should see first point being taken away here. Hivemind getting out the gate stronger now.
That's exactly what they need to do. Like I said, they need to have something go their way here. They found the early pick, and they forced out so much utility early. They popped the bubbles, they forced out Suzu. Trevor's in a bad spot. That secondary fire taking them out there, and now we're going to be able to see Hivemind actually set up, and Spirit's going to be able to play angles here, but they have to be very safe still, because a bubble can only save them for so long.
Yeah, 100%. Point beginning to flip over right now, but starting to fall apart at the seams here, trying to get a touch going. Hydra managed to get rid of Tread, and with that, that fight is pretty much over with. Talisman has to take a reset here with manually, as Ultimate slowly becoming a factor. Specifically, this beat is going to be online before Tread's grab.
How was your day? Almost getting taken out there. That would have been a huge mistake there by Hivemind. But they're able to get How's Your Day out. And right now, if you're Dreamland, you need to find that pick here very early on to do something. Talisman's trying to get in that backline to force some ability away, but manually, they find that pick. You can go in now.
Yeah, you just go all in here. Amity is essentially screwed at this point right now. Beat comes through. They think it's winnable, but they don't retouch the payload quite yet. The point, I should say, and Amity eventually is going to go down right now. Talisman does have a pulse bomb right around the corner, but it's slowly eventually going to be a takeover of Hivemind once again. If I'm Talisman, I would say I wouldn't throw the pulse. Not gonna find anything. It goes out. Only 14% on the board here. I mean, you have the Kitsune Rush and the Grav ready, and How's Your Day's not gonna have the beat anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say that full spawn going out there from Talisman really let me know that they were gonna make a swap there. Hover the Echo going to the Mei here. Starting to see Mei a little bit more, and I like the kind of playstyle, especially with Zarya on the other side. Either they're just gonna try to jump the wall, or they have to use their bubbles right there. But if you have a duplicate, you're gonna have a grab, like you said, not that far away from an overclock, which, hey, when Manly used theirs last fight, it got shut down almost instantly. But this has to be a fight that Dreamland really wins here, or else they're gonna be put behind the 8 ball pretty hard.
Yeah, and we do see Hero ends up going for that. He's going to throw out that grab. It's going to get 2 bodies inside of it right here. Cleanse coming through momentarily. It's going to be able to keep Talisman alive momentarily, but looks like that should eventually fall apart, but instead, they're going to take this point back. 94% on the board. Kiwi's going to have the beat around, but to be fair, you can kind of expend that beat in the next fight if you wanted to.
Did Amity's grab get canceled?
I can't remember what happened to it. I never even saw it, honestly.
Yeah, I think they probably it had. I just missed it, or it got canceled here. But now, because you find no value with that grab there for Hivemind, you have to find something here with Dreepy's overclock, or else you're now going to be in a bad spot. Because look, Talisman only in one fight with the Mei already will have a blizzard. If you have a beat, it's going to allow them a second to ult is pretty good here. Dreepy on the off angle, looking for value early. Just has to give it up though.
Yeah, Hajide is being taken now. You're going for Amity. If Amity goes down, yeah, big cleanup could be coming through here. Everyone going to be able to get out of dodge. It's just Dreepy and Spiro. They're chasing pretty much all the way to the spawn doors. They'll get the late pick onto Dreepy. And now double DPS ultimates around the corner. Mohiki might get this online, but it's going to be close.
It's going to be really close, and this is what I was fearing with Hivemind. We saw it last point where Dreamland was able just to take space when they wanted, and able to easily back out. Now they have to try to reclaim that space that they lost, and you're only really going to have a Kitsune rush here in what could be final fight, and what honestly will be final fight here with how slow Hivemind is taking this. You need that early pick. Spear, though, trying just to get rid of bubbles there from Tread as the overclock comes out.
Yeah, they're going to cut off Spear from the rest of the squad here, and Kitsune rush is going to be thrown out in response. It's going to stretch all the way over to the point right now, so they eventually need to go together on a target. Graveyard gets hit with the 1-2-3 combo from Mohiki, and now Cleanse coming through. Talisman does have a freeze ready to go, is going to die with it, unfortunately, and with that, it's looking like a round 3 could become an inevitability. Someone has to try to recontest. Unfortunately, none is to be found, so 3rd round it will go, but that is a much better example of how to play that if you're Hivemind. And hell, Hajide got another beat back.
Yeah. I mean, hey, a good bounce back round there from Hivemind after basically being shut down. Fight after fight after fight on Village. Now we head to Temple, or I believe it's called Temple. I'm probably dead wrong about it. But you have to look at the differences there. Hivemind did force Talisman to get off of that Tracer. It wasn't really working for them. Going over to the Echo instead, and you saw Sparrow. They had more time, more value from that pick. As well as you start to see everyone really come alive there for this Hivemind team, and it was a big difference. Now, if you're Dreamland, what do you have to do here? Like, you looked really good there for a moment. You got back to that kind of death ball-y way. You were willing to take space. You were willing to go touch spawn doors for a moment there, it seemed. But then you backed up, gave that space up for free, which, hey, that's the right thing to do there. But I think the overclock came out a little bit too early there for Manly. But right now, both teams are going to be fighting for this side here by point. You're really not going to have to worry about boots, as neither one of those Lucios really wants to test the hit scans on the other side.
Yeah, Amity close to going down right out the gate here. Will be kept alive in time right now. Echoes going at each other. Talisman looking for that chase. Sparrow going to just hide away as point is going to be opened up here, but I don't think anybody dares to start making their way over quite yet. You want that first hit before you decide to go in. And Amity gets super low, gets taken out, and Tread has the call to move in to respond. And with that, point will be over to Dreamland to get things started, but everyone else should be able to get out alive.
I like the play there from Hivemind. Amity was going to be a distraction for Howser who went on the outside of the map looking for the boop, just didn't land it. Fred was able just to bounce off one of the pillars and take out their tank there. Now, for Hivemind, you regroup here. Really no ultimates going to be ready for either side early on this fight, but if it's another long fight, you could really see some ultimates come online, probably both continuing rushes, maybe even both blocks here. But Spiro, this is a player who really needs to step up last point and now find the first pick for them. This fight is huge.
Yeah, and Manually has pretty much been chased to the ends of the earth, but Dreepy didn't have Alex to back him up, and now Rub Scenario Hands Bureau, though, is going to be able to find a nice finish. Amity is going to need a little bit of care to survive here. You want to try to find the flip. You're going to get the flip, but you're going to lose Amity in the process. This might be temporary.
The flip's actually going to stay for a while because Trent did die as well. However, I mean, you're going to see a little bit of an investment here from Hivemind, and I don't blame him for it. Keep this investment going here. You have have control of the point, and because you're really not going to see any true engagement from Dreamland here for the moment, and we're going to be able to get back and get all ready to go. However, now you have a Consumer Rush and an Overclock on the other side. Granted, you're going to have the Consumer Rush for your own play here, Hivemind, but you're already down. How's your day?
Yeah, now they pretty much have to surrender the point over. Manually gets rid of 2. Is going to try to pursue a 3rd. Likely going to get everybody else out alive, but now we have double Consumer Rush for this fight. Beats both around the corner.
Grab's not that far away either, but Talisman's going to be able to build to their duplicate here. Sparrow used theirs a little bit earlier, as you saw, once they got control of that point. Again, it was a good idea for them, but they really need to find a little bit more value with it, but I don't blame them for the use of this. Sparrow now trying to sneak around the corner, getting the off-angle here, tries to focus on it, but Kiwi able to get their own Soj out of the way, but there's one Consumer Rush, the other one probably not far behind.
Yeah, they're trying to get a flip over right now. It's going to be a little bit difficult. Talisman hiding in the back line. Eventually, Consumer Rush will be thrown back the other way. How's your day? Again, still has the beat, is waiting for that right moment. That grab is still going to be around the corners. Dreamy being taken care of, 80% accounting. Everyone's got to get out alive. Unfortunately, everybody's dying one at a time, and now a touch is looking next to impossible.
Yeah, Muhiki is the only one that can really have a logical touch here right now, but they are going to be taken out, and that is almost the worst possible outcome there for Hivemind. Yeah, How's Your Day is there. I would not be surprised if they beat and then try just to run the point as fast as they can. Grab to be able to stop them, get in their tracks, and no one from Hivemind even able to get back inside the building. A great kind of round there for Dreamland, just to bounce back from everything that kind of happened there in that second point. But again, I mean, it was that last fight. It was, you saw Hivemind try to disengage, but Dreamland, they went on the offensive. They chased them down and found the picks where you normally don't want to see any of those picks if you're the team running away. Dreamland, they didn't care. They did everything right. They found the picks, kept themselves alive, and really put Hivemind in a bad spot stagger-wise there. And as you look at the stats, I mean, Dreamland, that second point was a little bit of an enigma here, because that was where most of their deaths happened. The most deaths on Dreamland was Graveyard and Tread, both with 5, while Dreepy on the other side had 10 in that first map. But still, I mean, Tread able to get 10,000 damage, beating Amity over there by almost 2,000 or over 2,000 really did help them there. You saw that there when the Zarya's were very highly charged. It always seemed like Tread was able to find a little bit more value there in that first map.
Yeah, that's really what it felt like in a situation like that, is these teams are wasting absolutely no time trying to get this second map going. I mean, but you said it yourself right there. There was just this lock-in period where it felt like it was extremely back and forth, but you see the way the Dreamland squad has been working over the past nearly year now, and how well they're able to bounce back in these situations and really say, hey, we know what we're doing. We've been doing this for a long time, especially together. They lock in, they get it done. It really is as simple as that with this squad right here. But either way, we did see first ban coming out there. It is the Ramatra once again. Both teams are saying, hey, we don't Ramatra, we don't want them in our game today. We don't want to deal with this. But on the other side, Mei is going to be the call here. So no Mei available, which honestly, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, it's a fair pick, especially if you're going to a brawl map. Walls can be very punishing. It's a pretty safe ban, all things considered.
Yeah, especially heading into New Junk City, which will be our second map here. And I mean, earlier today in OWCS, you did see Mei actually get some play on New Junk City. But the problem was, once you got out of that first map, the arena, the Mei really struggles to find some value here. So, believe the Mei being banned out here, I think by Dreamland, really kind of gives us an idea that they don't want the Mei there, especially on that first point. They want to try to get that first point, give themselves a little bit of an advantage, while Mei does find value on some of the other points. Just having a wide open space really significantly, negates a lot of the value you could find from Mei. But I mean, you did see it there for a brief moment from Dreamland that they hovered over the Mei. They were thinking about it here. So this is probably a good strategical ban here by both these teams. Ramatra, again, just kind of being banned out. A little bit surprising, but hey, you said it yourself, Hunter. This is a brawl map. Ramatra, that good poke brawl hybrid tank. So really good to get that tank out of the way here again. But map 3, we could see the Omnic tank here.
Yeah, I think we definitely could after the third map. I mean, it's been banned twice for a very good reason. Teams don't want to deal with it. But Dreamland, to be fair, after what you kind of just experienced in that situation, or I should say, in this experience, honestly, getting rid of it again, you are fine with that. If this Zarya 1v1 comes back to fruition, I'm feeling confident enough if I'm Tread in the situation, if I'm the whole Dreamland squad, I'm entirely confident in that situation. But gotta see whether they can make it go back-to-back, as like you said, New Junk City. Second map up here. Everyone is still in, no substitutions. And we'll see how these teams want to approach this one.
Yeah, and one last thing on that first map there. Manly went 28-2.
Sheesh.
Best KD in the lobby right there. And, I mean, you saw the mark they were able to leave in that entire first map. They were finding a lot of value playing that Soj. Talisman, I mean, they had their struggles, but really came back alive. Sparrow, like I said, someone who kind of struggled on that first point, did end up having the most elims there for Hivemind. So that Echo pick, we're going to start seeing it a little bit more and more, I believe, throughout the early part of this season. Sparrow showing us right now that it can be a very, very scary one once they get going here. But honestly, Hunter, no big surprise here. We're not seeing any difference here with the compositions. Talisman going to go over back to that Tracer probably after the Sim, while Dreepy going back over to the Soj. So you're just seeing the same thing here again, but what is it going to take here for Hivemind to really get the upper hand here early on? They really need to win this first point, in my opinion, to give themselves the best chance in this match.
Yeah, 100% here. Again, it's about waiting and managing that aggression. Hivemind's being taken out early. I mean, that's just exactly what you're hoping for if you are the Dreamland squad. Everyone's going to be falling over. The first fight is going to be just as simple as that. Dreepy would obviously love to try to get out of there alive. Wants to try to take somebody down with them. Unfortunately, it's not really given the opportunity here. They're going to be slowly cleaned up, and credit to them for stalling out a little bit longer, but it's going to fall over. Graveyard already going to be halfway through a Extended Rush.
And losing Howjaday early or first in this kind of composition is almost basically a death sentence. It ends the fight right there. That's your speed. We call this a death ball comp for a reason. You want to be fast and you want to be able to just kind of roll through everyone. Without your Lucio there, you do not have that speed, so you immediately have to kind of back out right there. And granted, like I said, they did stall at the point for a little bit there just to make sure that the lead wouldn't be too bad. Gives himself another fight opportunity here, but you have to make sure Howjaday not going to be the first one taken out, but Talisman again, kind of waiting in the wings there on those off angles as Sparrow going over to Venture now instead.
Yeah, and threw everything to get rid of Sparrow right there. Just stay alive. Full charge right now. Fortran manually trying to pick the loft from over from the side as Kemedy goes down first. Howjaday does turn it back around, but I would much prefer losing my Tracer over my Zarya. And now, Trez just going to try to keep pushing everybody out there. Reset needs to come through, but to be fair, this reset, I guess Sparrow can get this touch.
You could get the touch here, but I honestly think at this point, Sparrow going over to the Venture is going to help them out a little bit later on in this map. Yeah, they're going to get the touch here, but you're going to need your team to come in very, very quickly, but you're going to have to deal with ultimates from the other side if even Dreamland wants to use any, which they do.
I mean, you might as well double down right here. You get this first one locked in. You try to carry momentum. Eventually, Muhiki is going to be shut down right here. Overtime starting to take through. Everyone in a rough position. Ults nowhere even really close. Dreepy gets a hit, but yeah, I mean, to be fair, by the way things are looking, it's looking like it might not have even gone their way to begin with, but regardless, I mean, to be fair, that means they don't expend any ultimates. You can go into this probably in a 4v4 situation.
Yeah, but the only thing there, like, even if you're Dream or Hivemind, you want to try to force a fight there on point. Just try to get some more ultimates out from Dreamland. Give yourself a better opportunity in that second point. I think the entire thought process for them going into that fight was if they find the first pick, they keep it going. If they lose someone in that first pick, then you just try to get ults out from the other side. So not only getting the Kitsune Rush out is a nightmare for them, but like you said, they're coming up with all 5 ultimates, and they have the Kitsune Rush here to start off, but they have to deal with the grab.
Yeah, and eventually Amity is just going to be deleted by the pulse grab combo right there. This is going to be settled very quickly, and Body's going to die over on the point. Kiwi now has a beat available for this grab coming through. They are in great shape right now, and Hivemind still needs to kind of find their identity throughout the series.
Well, Hivemind, another late pick there. I don't want to keep that being a little bit of a trend, but you look at what Hivemind has here. Grab, beat, overclock, tectonic shock. They're going to be in a good spot here, but the beat from Kiwi on the other side is going to really make or break a lot of the ultimates that Hivemind's going to have here. Yeah, Manual's going to have an overclock, which again, most kills last map, looking to do it again here, and they were able to find a lot of overclock kills in map number 1. Try to keep that up here as Talisman already being a little bit of a pest in that backline.
100% right here. We see the commitment out the gate. Dreepy, once again, someone's going beat has been expended. Amity. This grab could be big if it catches over onto the right people right now. It's going to throw in, it's going to grab onto 2 people. Graveyard is going to go, but no one is there for the immediate follow-up. Eventually will come through, so now this thing is likely going to tick over to overtime. Amity super low up on the high ground. This thing is not over yet. Amity's been taken out. Talisman has gotten rid of a second one. This is a current 2v1 situation. Talisman is going to have to clutch up. Unfortunately, Pulse Bomb going to miss. So I can't imagine this goes any further than that 99 as, yeah, Talisman just going to cut their losses and get out of there.
Get out, regroup, but their team coming back in fast here, Manly. Graveyard already kind of back in, trying to take a little bit of an early fight, get rid of Sparrow, who immediately has to burrow, but now the entirety of Hivemind is back. Amido, already very low, but their grab last fight was the difference maker there. Got rid of both Graveyard and Manually, especially Manually, who did pop their overclock, and now Second Shock out as the Consumer comes out from the other side of the screen.
Yep, Tread is extremely low. Spiro eventually going to be able to find that pick right now. Everyone in a rough area. Graveyard, though, is getting away with more. Spiro is getting away with murder in the back line. Unfortunately, the rest of the squad doesn't feel the exact same. They're falling over one at a time. Amity is hanging around, curling in a 3v2 right now. Spiro is pretty much just trying to go for the assassination on everybody. And Amity is eventually going to fall apart. Spiro, you figure might just want to try to live. He's going to try to get out. Unfortunately, this is not going to happen. And this point should flip over 2-0 as a result.
I mean, we could see one late touch here from Hivemind, but no, they're just going to let this one go here. They got out an almost ultimate from the other side, so no Consumer Rush here early on from them. However, they are far away from their own Consumer Rush as well here, and right now, they're taking an early fight, and I like that here from them, but they need to be able to come out on top of it, or else they're just behind the 8-ball again into the third point. Looks like, though, Dreamland's able to escape Sparrow, able to escape here as well to fully regroup. Talisman pulls bomb out. Again, only going to be able to find the ground, but again, look how much attention they're pulling.
Yeah, a ton, but the problem is there's still plenty of time to go for a recontention here. Talisman will be able to get back relatively quickly, but now this is where you just go all in the scenario. You're going to wonder whether or not Manually is going to invest here. Going right around the corner from that overclock. Could be massive, but for the time being, Tread should probably be eventually forced out of here, but instead Grab comes through. Amity is going to be drilled into by Manually. No overclock necessary. An unfortunate loss for Hivemind as Manually gets 3 there to finish it out.
Basically go from 95% of the way to capping the point to, well, now no percent on the board, and Dreamland right back in control. Grab there, though, from Tread. Perfect. Beautiful. Able to get rid of Sparrow with some help there from Manly's disruptor shot. Manly then able to take care of Amity. I mean, this is what you're wanting to see. Good team plays coming out here from Dreamland. Hivemind, though, look at what they're coming up to here. You have your overclock. You're not far away from beat. You're not far away from almost everything. Same thing, though, could be said for the other side of Dreamland. Just minus the grab, and again, we've seen Hivemind really struggle to find those opening picks here, those opening acts. They need to be able to find something here, though, early, or else this point in map will get away from them.
Yep, Kiwi does have the beat sitting by. How's Your Day dies at 99 to it, and Manually's hoping to clear out House right here. Gets the hat trick. Amity gone, and now it's going to be another mad dash to the point.
Again, Manually, like I said, map 1 dominated, map 2 still dominating it here. Right in mind, going into the next map, if you cannot turn around here, you need to figure out some way how to shut down Manually, whether with a ban or just finding out how. Talisman, though, early pick, and it's huge.
Yeah, and How's Your Day has a beat right around the corner. He's going to have to just pop it and see what happens. They'll hang around for a little while longer. Kiwi has a beat directly back to Spiro. Needs to try to find something getting booped up into the air. He's going to be able to get one more contestation. Amity, I mean, they have a grab, and they have an overclock, but it's starting to look really unnecessary. Body staggering on one at a time, but they're looking to get this thing nice and finished off. Flip is close to coming through. Unfortunately, not going to come through. Talisman going to get grabbed. Will go down, but it's the only casualty here. How's Your Day going 3-0 here for Dreamland. Match point already, and they are looking on fire right now.
Again, another great map here for Dreamland. Hivemind, they had their opportunities, but were never really able to capitalize on them much more than 1 or 2 fights where they invested a couple ultimates after a fight where Dreamland invested heavily into their ult economy. So that's really what you're seeing Hivemind find the value here early on, but Dreamland, again, you're seeing Manly get yet another play of the game. They have just been on fire throughout this entire series. 28 picks in map number 1, and as map number 2 ends here, I'll be able to tell you what they got there. 27. I mean, they have been very consistent. Again, 27-2. They've only died 4 times throughout this entire series. Talisman really stepped up as well. 27 elims there as well. So when your DPS line hunter is getting over 50 elims combined, you're normally going to be winning those the majority of the time. Hivemind, though, again, they had their opportunities, like I said, but they weren't able to capitalize on them. They never were able to really get that kind of death ball kind of play style going, because it always seemed like 1 or the 2 of the most vital pieces of that composition was taken out first, whether whether it be the Lucio or whether it be that flanking flex DPS player, whether it be on the Echo or whether it be on the Venture, which I thought the Venture actually looked well there at points, but never was really able to find the true value you want out of a pick like that.
Yeah, 100%. And it felt like Hivemind was trying to find something at times, and I feel like they really had something back on second point. Unfortunately, I mean, you have Talesman and Manually that are able to clean things up so consistently. They brought that back from a 3v5 fight, which honestly should not have been winnable 99 times out of 100. But in that one, it happened to go down. And now Hivemind backs against the wall very quickly here. And I mean it very quickly. This series started about 30 minutes ago, and already we're looking at match point. Dreamland looks like they're picking off right where they left off. But of course, Hivemind, they're not out of the game quite yet. We are going over to Dorado, so we get some dive action here in the situation. And with this first ban from them, Tracer being gone, that is going to be a big hit to Talesman, who's not going to be able to pull that out this time.
Yeah, and you go back to map 1 on Nepal, the one map where, or the one point where Hivemind was actually able to take it was the point where they forced Talisman to get off that Tracer, play that Echo instead. And granted, they still play that Echo onto the third point, which Dreamland did end up winning, but there was that little bit of a moment there where they had to get used to playing a different hero, and Hivemind was really able to capitalize on that there. So it's going to be interesting to see going into a map where we expect to see dive for the most part, where you're not going to be seeing that Tracer, but you could still see Brawl here. I would not be surprised if still, right now, if you're both of these teams, Ramatra is there, you could play it. But Zarya is kind of the name of the game here. However, Devo, Winston, definitely right there. Hazard still there as well if you do want to try to play into that little divey play style, especially with a little bit more Brawl capability. But that backline finally getting affected here. Brig going to be banned out here by Dreamland. So you're already starting to see that Dreamland is, if you want to run that traditional kind of dive backline with that Honor Brig, Dreamland's already trying to say, like, you're going to have to make a little bit of a change and potentially not even play that dive here. But still, Juno's here. You have Lucio still. You do have Kiri, which has been a good replacement for them. Wu Yang, potentially you're starting to see teams pick back up Wu Yang a little bit, especially after Wu Yang first came out. It seemed like everyone was playing it, kind of died down. Now it's picking back up. So there's options here.
There are plenty of options here in the situation. I think dive opens it up more than perhaps any other category, especially you go to certain points on pretty much any escort hyper map that does kind of revolve around dive. There are all those points where, like, hey, it opens up to like more of that library. I mean, I think the biggest example in this situation is third point. You go over to third point, you will see teams sometimes swap around, go something a little more brawl related, and just pretty much focus on holding down these chokes. And worst case scenario, holding on that final corner where the bot ends at. But at the end of the day, we'll see what the situation is going to be. Hivemind is attacking first. Curious to see whether or not we see the Winston or the Diva. Obviously, Hazard Ball. There are always possibilities, but I would love to see some Winston gameplay today.
Well, it looks like you're at least be teased with it here for the moment. But on the other side, I mean, you are seeing Dreamland show us the Diva on the defense, which is kind of I feel like it's kind of the way you go. You're still seeing that backline try to decide what they're going to be playing here. It looks like they've stuck with the on a Kiri, which is probably the most common backline if the Brig is banned out. Other side, though, very, very interesting. I was going to talk about zombie comp there, but Muhiki going over to the Iari. Drippy on the Widow, though. Again, it's always one of those kind of, I call it glass cannon picks. If it hits, man, does it hit like a truck. But if it doesn't, it's going to be shattered very, very quickly here. And Manly going over as well to this Ashe. Dynamite is going to be something that's going to be a big factor here. Muhiki might be working overtime here to cleanse a lot of stuff, but Drippy looking for the one shot, doesn't find it, goes right over to the Freya instead.
Yeah, and I don't blame it whatsoever. Cred over on this Diva is going to be able to be a linchpin on this point, constantly going to be able to go up, go down, till the point, go back up safely, rinse, repeat. Ideally, this is what you want to do for the next 3.5 minutes, but Dreepy goes down early. A lot of that pick potential goes with it. Manually gets rid of 2. Could see a little bit more, but Firo is able to get back in. Hajide, unfortunately, is not. And that fight right there, essentially what you want to see happen if you're a Dreamland fan for the next 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, and again, it's just manually being able to pick up any hit scan player or hit scan character and just dominate. I mean, landing shot for shot there, already finding a lot of value. You see it right there, 80 to Bob. We're not a minute into the map. 80 to Bob. You need something here, though, if you're Hivemind. The bubble already gone for Amity as they have to run away. The Suzu's not able to save them, and how's your day? Already anti.
God, and manually, by the way, is just not missing at all. Now this Bob's already going to be available. Burn a little too early, but starting to build up other things as well. Bob can be thrown in. Unfortunately, it's going to be on the cart, and pretty much if you're Hivemind, you can just hide away.
Yeah, we probably want on the cart. It's also not the worst thing. It's just buying you time. Even though it's giving Hivemind time to kind of strategize what they want to do, they're still not necessarily being able to find much with it here, as you do see a little bit of a split, as Amity and Sparrow have no supports. Well, I mean, you do see Dreepy and Muhiki on the off angle trying to find something here, but right now, Hivemind just struggling to get anything going. At least getting Tread out of the mech would be a good start here, because it would force Dreamland back here, but they're still struggling to do that. And now the Nano's on them.
Yeah, over on Tread. Not going to get anybody quite yet, but everybody's in a bit of a hole right now. Not where I want to be right now when I have a Diva staring back down at me. Zero Amity gone. This is a big cleanup on display now. A minute and a half down, only 27 meters gained. At the bright side, though, ultimates are starting to be a plethora here for Hivemind.
I mean, they're about to have a full house of ultimates right here. That's going to be their big claim in this coming up fight here. But look at Manuel, 65 to another bomb. They're going to be able to have a bomb by the midpoint of this fight. And again, if you're Hivemind, you struggle to really get anything going. You might need one coordinated dive here onto someone like Manuel. Yeah, you might end up losing one, but if you can get rid of them, you'll be able to open up something here, which you really haven't been able to yet. The 27 meters is going to be very difficult to do here for you on the defense side, but you're starting to see those ultimates come out here. Spiro immediately duplicates into the defense.
Yeah, Consider Rush going to be activated from the high ground. Big anti, though, going to stick over on to Dreepy. He burnt away. Tread is also going to be kept alive. Spiro going to be knocked out of the fantasy mech, and eventually going to go back to regular form. Got to try to live, but getting hunted down by Tread, and again, big cleanup, and how's your day? Gets stuck, dies in the spawn, 45 seconds left. Hivemind is just at a loss right now.
Yeah, Hivemind just seems, like you said, at a loss. I mean, the duplicate, I think it was onto the right target of Tread. Muhiki invested Kitsune Rush there, but now you look at the other side. 4 ultimates about to be online for them as Talisman duplicates into the Winston. Amity gets put to sleep and immediately woken up in the Primal.
Yeah, manually kind of stopped after that one and realized, wait a minute, not the plan, but still in there right now. Amity's extremely low, going to try to get out of there. Gets flicked, but everyone trying to stabilize. Spear's taking care of Kiwi, though, does die in the process. Double hit, though, for manually, though. Bob available once again. How's your day? Has a beat. It's got to be super aggressive and get this touch.
Tread now has bomb as well, so they have a remaking tool and a good stalling tool here, especially as you are waiting for Kiwi to get back. And now, if you're Hivemind, you have to go fast. Bob, though, coming out. That's going to be a deal breaker for them.
Yeah, how's your day? He's going to get a nice touch here. Manually, though, gets taken down by Dreepy. Dreepy might have to be the hero for the squad to make it happen, unfortunately. While they will get one post-mortem, I mean, that's going to be the extent right here. Nano, for good measure, only 31 meters. If you, my God, if you're a Dreamland fan, you are doing jumping jacks right now. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And here's the thing, I mean, normally week 1, match 1, you expect a little bit of rust from every team, even the teams that you expect to be very, very good, and normally that does show. But right now, Dreamland, you can see they've been practicing, they've been scrimming, and they've been able to keep up a high level of play. And Hivemind, it just hasn't been their night here. They haven't been able to find any way to break through this Dreamland core, whether it be Tread on this tank, Talisman on this hit scan, Manly on this hit scan, and Talisman just being able to play really whatever they want. I mean, I believe Kiwi was the only one, Kiwi and Talisman were the only ones to die for Dreamland there that last round. I mean, Hivemind, this isn't impossible, but you can't lose a fight. That's the problem. And I mean, you see right now at least what Dreamland's coming out of the gate with. I imagine we could see some swaps here, but I do like what we're seeing from Hivemind. Going back to the Czar, I think, I mean, if it's been a comp that has won you fights in the past maps, you need something to kind of give you some sustainability. Czar's there, Spiro there on the May. Dreepy needs to be able to land shots on that Ash to really get that damage in there. But right now, you look at the other side for Dreamland, as, I mean, the Hog was there for a moment, but Graveyard and Kiwi, there's the Hog back. So you're going to be looking for boosted hooks, potentially. No, Talisman's going to be the boost here for the moment, but it seems like Hivemind is waiting in the kitchen.
And Tread walked in the kitchen, did not have an apron on, unfortunately, and Tread learning the hard way right there. As you're gonna see swaps are coming through. Tailsman got the Hermesy working. Tread, yeah, everybody swaps immediately.
Yeah, they understood they understand now what's going on. That you are seeing a very close hold here from Dreamland. Again, they understand that all they need to do is win one fight, and that might be the beginning of the end right there, especially as you lose Amity. Dreamland, it's going to be a rough one here if they're able to somehow turn this around.
Yeah, I mean, Sparrow is going to stall on Cart momentarily, but I mean, this really is delaying the inevitable here. Amity going to try to make their way back. Haishude says a little hello hi before being taken out. And at this stage of the game, you maybe get one more touch if you're Amity, but you go down, you touch the point. Amity is going to live for all of about 4 seconds before being taken out. And this is Dreamland domination, 3-0 fashion. There is not a better way to start the season right there, Dex.
Absolutely not a better way to start the season for Dreamland, especially, again, like we said, they have been contenders every season that this core has been together, even if they go by, even if they've been under different org names and stuff, it doesn't matter. This is always one of those teams you have to watch out for. Remember, back in Season 5, the last time there was those promotion relegation matches, they were a part of it. And they want to get back to that spot here again this season. And so far, again, you could not ask for a better start to the season here for them. I mean, Graveyard never died that map right there. Manly, again, led the lobby in elims, led the lobby in damage by almost, actually no, by having double the amount of the next person there who was their own tank Tread with 4,400 damage. Manly had 8,800 damage there. I mean, they were unstoppable throughout this entire series. Hivemind, though, again, a very tough opponent to go up against first. They had their opportunities on Nepal. They had their opportunities on New Junk City. They weren't ever able to capitalize on them. They didn't have any opportunities on Dorado. Especially as we thought, like, okay, we're going to see them play Dive, go up against something a little bit different than the Death Ball kind of brawl style that you see with the Zarya on the first 2 maps. The Dive, it didn't seem to really make a difference. But hey, it's only game 1. They have another game coming up here Friday, or if they haven't rescheduled, like a lot of the teams really have, they have time to go back, VOD review, get some scrims in, really go back and just try to figure out what went wrong here. Because again, if you're a Hivemind, you don't see Dreamland again now until the playoffs, if you get to that point for both these teams. So you have other opponents you have to get prepared for here, but you can learn from going up against Dreamland here tonight. Dreamland, though, I mean, they probably expected this outcome here. Great play from them all around. Now they have to get ready for the next match here.
Yeah, 100% they do, and they come out here looking as good as they possibly can in the situation. Taking a quick look at who they go up against next with Dreamland, just taking a fast look before we get done here today.
Noah.
It'd be
Kintsugi.
Yeah, Kintsugi this coming Friday, if, like you said, if it stays as it is. Honestly, I don't ever want to say they have an easy start to the season, because that's never really fair to say. But Kintsugi, Ilios, European Takeover, team that came up over from Expert. I'm excited to see how they end up looking. Element Garden, which we are now familiar with the Element org. Excited to have a team over here. I recognize a couple of the names from a different squad, but I'm pretty sure they came up from Expert as well. But, I mean, a lot of these games that if they are able to do what they've done here today, they can get off to a roll. And we expect them to honestly get off to a roll, because that's just the quality that they have been producing the last couple of seasons. It's hard to believe that would be anything different now.
Yeah, but hey, there's a lot of stuff still going on right now. OWCS is still going on. And I mean, that's probably why I'm seeing a lot of teams really reschedule their games here. Mostly because I feel like a lot of these teams are looking to see maybe what meta is. I think Dreamland did show us what a really good meta is right there. And again, normally with Zarya comps, you see Zarya Reaper, but we didn't see Reaper at all tonight with any of those comps. So really interesting to see that here. But again, very early on in the season, we're going to be seeing a lot of different compositions come in, compositions go out, heroes come in, go out. Again, you have to remember, Vendetta is coming in here next season. I don't necessarily know if we will see Vendetta in the regular season. Probably we'll see her first in the postseason, much like we did with Wu Yang back in, I believe it was last season, where we won't see that hero necessarily till then, even though if Vendetta is meta. Won't see it. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be that's going to change a lot here. And you never know. One thing might happen to Dreamland and the team struggles. But right now, this is a team that you really have to watch out for. And Hivemind, they could find something that really works for them here, and they could become a team that everyone kind of does have to fear.
Yep, it's just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, the beginning of a very long season. Won't be done till, regular season-wise, the beginning of February. So we still have a lot to go here. But for Dreamland, it's a start that they are hoping for. But hey, everybody, thank you all for joining us here today. Having a fantastic time. Obviously, a little quicker than maybe we would have hoped. But, hey, still have a fantastic week ahead of us with just OWCS, with honestly everything going on in the Overwatch landscape. But if things go to plan, big asterisks right there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a double feature on Friday. We'll see if it sticks or not. It's going to be FA Overwatch taking on Element Heaven for South America, and then North America, Nightmare versus Amplify. We'll see if that sticks. I'm not saying anything beyond that. So, with that being the case, thank you all for joining us. Please just continue to support Overwatch Esports. Have yourselves a good night, and we'll see you next time. Peace.